So I took my kids to the Old Country Buffet. Maybe that was my first mistake. Look, I have nothing against the Old Country Buffet. It's every child's heaven. If you've never heard of this restaurant, it's basically any food you could ever imagine accessible to you. You buy a plate, you slop on any food you want, endless amounts of desserts, and you can go back for seconds and thirds, eat all you want. It sounds glorious, but I don't like to eat there because I start to wonder how long has that chicken been under the lamp. That salad is looking limp. I eat too much. I'm gaining a copious amount of weight every time I eat here. So my kids really wanted to go there and I agreed. I had already eaten, I wasn't very hungry, and again, I didn't really want to eat that food anyways. So I went to the cash register gal and I said,
"Hi, I'd like to get 3 meals for my kids, and I'm not going to be eating today, so maybe just a water for me. I will just be reading my book and watching my kids cram a bunch of food in their mouth."
And the cash register lady was like,
"Okay, that's fine, but actually, you are required to buy a drink. You cannot just come into our restaurant and buy food for your kids and not buy anything for yourself."
and I was like,
Since when can I not just buy food for my kids? Any restaurant I go to, I have the option of just buying food for my kids. I've never been required to purchase anything for myself. I'm not thirsty. I don't want a drink.
and she was like,
Well, I'm sorry, ma'am, but that is our policy. And if you would like your children to eat here, then you do need to buy a drink.
so whatever, I just agreed to pay for my drink that I didn't want and the 3 meals for my kids. We go and sit down and my kids are eating and I'm sitting there just thinking like,
She forced me to buy something I didn't want. That's not right. How can that be anybody's policy? Maybe I need to challenge the policy.
I decided to go back to the cash register gal while my kids were eating and I was like,
Hey, look, so I already paid for my drink, but I'm not actually drinking anything. This is kind of silly that I had to pay for something my kids are eating. I'm not eating off of their plates. I'm not stealing any of your desserts. Like, I'm literally just sitting here watching my children eat, and I feel like it's really ridiculous that you made me pay for a drink, and I'd like my $3 back, please.
and she was all,
Ma'am, I'm sorry, we really need to stick with the policy here, and the policy is that if you bring your children into our establishment, you must buy something for yourself as well.
and I was like,
You know, I don't care for that policy much, ma'am. Can I speak with the manager on site, please?
and so she kind of huffed away and went and got her manager, and her manager came back and I said,
Hello, manager. Look, I came to this establishment. My kids love to eat here. I'm not hungry nor thirsty, but the cash register gal here says that it is your policy that I have to purchase a drink for myself if my kids want to eat here. And I just really feel uncomfortable with that. I'm not thirsty. Can I have my $3 back, please?
and then the manager was like,
Oh, yeah, well, of course. That's not actually our policy at all. I'm not sure where you got that, Rebecca.
and she was like,
That is what I was told from day one since training.
and he was like,
No, Rebecca. Sorry, ma'am, for any confusion. Here's your $3. Please do enjoy the rest of your stay here in our establishment. And, sorry, Rebecca, update yourself with our policy book.
so I took my $3 and I went and sat down and I finished reading my book and I was like, you know what?
It just goes to show you that when you feel an injustice is served, speak up for yourself. Let people know how you feel. And if they keep going back on, I'm sorry, that's our policy. Well, you know what? Policy is just a fancy way of saying we've written this down somewhere because we didn't want to deal with this problem. Well, guess what? I'm here now. Deal with it. Sure, policies are there for a reason, but there's got to be an exception to every rule. Let's look at the individual cases. Let's look at the humans as humans and consider the situation. And maybe make some exceptions. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to follow a policy just because it's policy. You never know. You might just see justice served after all. And then you go home a winner with your $3 and all.
Are you afraid to stand up for yourself? What is something that you believed in that you were like, no, this isn't right? Share in the comments. I would love to hear about other people standing up for themselves.
Justice will prevail, even if it's just $3 in my back pocket.
Gosh darn it. That's 3 items at the Target dollar spot. And that is nothing to scoff at.
Bye!
My daughter was playing Animal Jam before school one day, but when it was time to get shoes on, I approached my daughter and I was all,
Hey, you need to get your shoes on. It's time to go to school.
she doesn't cry a lot. She was crying. She was so sad.